Hey guys, welcome to my legal classes. This is Ganesh Pujari and we were discussing parts of C from UNCLOS 3. In my last session, I have already covered 4 parts from C, and in this video, I am covering the 5th part, that is exclusive economic zone. This is one of the important aspects because there are as many as 21 articles in UNCLOS 3 on the exclusive economic zone, and I am just showing the first 4 aspects just to recall my last session, and then we are getting into the detailed discussion on exclusive economic zone. Why to waste time? Let's get into the first slide. From my last class, we have already understood what are internal waters, and then we understood what are territorial water, then we understood what is archipelagic waters, and then we also understood what is contiguous zone. Here we are going to discuss the exclusive economic zone. So exclusive economic zone is extended up to 200 nautical miles from the baseline. When I am saying baseline, this 200 nautical miles includes both territorial sea as well as contiguous zone. That means after the completion of contiguous zone, we have 176 nautical miles which are covered under exclusive economic zone, and overall including all these three, it is 200 nautical miles. You might be thinking that why do we need to have exclusive economic zone? The main purpose of exclusive economic zone is to avoid the heated clashes for fishing rights as well as oil. Now, what are the powers of the coastal state? It has sole right over exploitation of natural resources belonging in exclusive economic zone, and the other states are also having certain powers, like they have the power of navigation. That means they can pass through this particular area and they can use the space above the exclusive economic zone, excluding the territorial sea, because there the airspace is national airspace, but after that this is called as international airspace and anybody can use it for overflight service. And then the other states can put the submarine pipes and cables, but however they are not having absolute right over that. There are conditions which can be put down by coastal states, which I am going to discuss from my next slide. What I have done here is I have given the gist of 21 articles in one page, but from next page I am going to discuss few of the important articles in detail, so that gives sufficient meat for you to answer any long answer question on this particular question. Now let's go through the few important articles. Part 5 of the United Nations Convention on Law of Sea discusses about exclusive economic zone, and there are 21 articles starting from Article 55 to 75 discuss on this particular aspect. Article 55 defines what is exclusive economic zone, which I have already explained you. Anything starting from baseline to 200 nautical miles is called as exclusive economic zone. Article 56 is very important article which discusses about rights, jurisdiction and duties of the coastal state in the exclusive economic zone, which says sovereign rights for the purpose of exploring and exploiting, conserving and managing natural resources, whether living or non-living, of the waters subjacent to the seabed and of the seabed and its subsoil, and with regard to other activities for the economic exploitation and exploration of the zone, such as the production of energy from the water, currents and winds. So you are seeing everything: living, non-living, energy, water, current, winds, economic, energy, everything is covered here. So all the exploitation right is available with the coastal state. Now they can also build artificial island installations and structures, and they can also do marine scientific research along with the protection and preservation of the marine environment. So that is a kind of duty, and whenever they are putting artificial island or installation and structure, if this is a permanent structure, they have to very clearly indicate to others also, so that there is no clash with the vessels and other stuff. That is the responsibility, and this particular article please go through completely because this is one of the important article. Article 57 discusses about breadth of exclusive economic zone, which is 200 nautical miles from the baseline. That is already been explained. And then we have Article 58, that is rights and duties of other states in the exclusive economic zones. Now the other states can use it for navigation or putting pipes, submarines, etc. However, they need to comply with the local regulations of the coastal state. That is very, very important. If there are any conflicts, then Article 59 comes into picture, which discusses about basis for the resolution of conflict, and here the basis of equity or whatever relevant circumstances is there, based on that, whichever is good for the international community, the conflicts will be resolved accordingly. Article 60 discusses about artificial islands, installations and structure in the exclusive economic zone. This is the exclusive right of the coastal state to authorize and to regulate the construction, operation, etc. of artificial islands, installation and structure for the purpose provided for in Article 56 and other economic purposes, and installation and structures which may be interfere with the exercise of the rights of the coastal state in the zone. These are the few articles you may mention or you can skip, like Article 61 discusses about conservation for the living resources. This is very important. The coastal state is responsible to conserve, that means to safeguard the living resources of its exclusive economic zone. And then Article 62 discusses about utilization of living resources. Now coastal right has the right to give license etc. to other, and here what happens, the states which don't have any access to water, they will come and utilize the exclusive economic zone under the license of the coastal state. But here the state which is coming and participating in any of the activity should ensure that it follows the conservation rule of the coastal state. That is very, very important. Now you might be thinking that why are the other states coming into the exclusive economic zone of a particular coastal state? That I am explaining while explaining Article 69. Wait for my next slide. And then comes Article 63, which discusses about stocks occurring within the exclusive economic zones of two or more coastal states, or both within the exclusive economic zone and in an area beyond and adjacent to it. Here, if there are any exclusive economic zone which are coming adjacent to each other, then there should be understanding. On the basis of that only the activities will be continued. Article 64 discusses about highly migratory species. This needs to be taken care by wherever they are migrating. And then Article 65 discusses about marine mammals. They also need to be taken care. Article 66 discusses about andromous stocks, and Article 67 discusses about catadromous species, and Article 68 discusses about sedentary species. Now whichever species are moving from one place to another place, when they are moving to another place, the another place also need to take care of them, conserve them, because they need to survive, they need to come back. That is how the international community is treating this, and this has to be respected from everyone. That is what discussed under these articles of UNCLOS. Now let's move to the very important article, that is Article 69. Article 69 discusses about right of landlocked states. Now states like India, we have water in three sides, like we have Arabian Sea, Hindu Sagar and Bay of Bengal. But there are many states who have all these sides only land, land and land. They don't have any sea next to their border. In that case, they cannot do any kind of fisheries activities. But on the basis of equity, Article 69 allows them to participate in the fishing activities of the others exclusive economic zone as per Article 61 and 62. That means both conservation as well as utilization. However, this is not the absolute right of landlocked state. It completely depends on the bilateral, sub-regional or regional agreements available there to avoid any kind of detrimental effects on the fishing communities or the fishing industries of the coastal state. And then they will see to what extent the landlocked state requires such activity and whether it is seriously geographically disadvantaged, and what is the nutritional needs of that respective state for the population of that particular state. All of these will be checked, and only when on the equity basis they need to be given a chance, then the chance will be given. Now there is one important catch there. Imagine there is a coastal state and it has exclusive economic zone where there are about 1000 fishes and the coastal state is catching only to the extent of 400. There are 600 fishes available, so the landlocked states can be provided opportunity based on the bilateral, sub-regional or regional basis agreements. Now the landlocked state is coming and starting the fishing activity, but however over a period of time the coastal state starts the capacity to capture all the 1000 fishes by its own resources. Now what happens? Here again the bilateral, sub-regional or regional agreements will come to picture, and whatever they say accordingly they will progress. If it says if the coastal state has the capacity to catch all the 1000 fishes, then it will have 100% power, then the landlocked state has to move on. That is very important, and the developed landlocked state should participate in the economic zone of developed coastal state only. It cannot participate in the economically backward coastal state. That is very important, and the coastal state has all the power to finalize which location to give for such activity and which not. That means it has the preferential right. That is very important. And then comes Article 70, which discusses about right of geographically disadvantaged state, which is quite similar to Article 69. And after that, Article 71, which discusses about non-applicability of Article 69 and 70. When in case of a coastal state's economy is overwhelmingly dependent on the exploitation of the living resources of its exclusive economic zone. If there is any state which is completely dependent on the exploitation of the living resources of its EEZ, in that case the other states will not be allowed. That is very important. And Article 72 says restriction on transfer of rights. Now a landlocked state or geographically disadvantaged state is allowed to do fisheries in the exclusive economic zone of a particular coastal state, but such state cannot transfer it to anyone else in the form of lease or license or establishing joint ventures. Nothing is allowed. That is very important, but they can take the financial or technical support from the third state. That is allowed. Article 73 discusses about enforcement of laws and regulations of the coastal state. Now, the coastal state has the power to make laws and regulations on the exclusive economic zone, and it has the right to explore, exploit, conserve and manage the living resources of its exclusive economic zone, and it can make any laws for the same and the others are binded for the same. That is very important, which is discussed under Article 73. What if there are clashes between the two or more states on the exclusive economic zone which is of opposite or adjacent coast? Now that is when Article 74 comes into picture, which discusses about delimitation of the exclusive economic zone between state with opposite or adjacent coast. There again the equity and the bilateral or the regional or sub-regional agreements will come to picture, and there the same need to be followed. And Article 75 discusses about charts and list of geographical coordinates. There I have given the article, you can go through, and these are the 21 articles, and I have explained few which are very important. Please go through them twice or thrice because they are the important aspect as far as your exams are concerned. That brings an end to our discussion on this particular aspect. In my next session, I am going to cover the continental shelf, which is again one of the important questions as far as exams are concerned. I will cover them in my next session. Till then, thank you so much for subscribing my channel. Please like, share and comment my videos. All the very best for whatsoever purpose you are following my channel, and thanks again.